What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Bucket of Chum, the Shark Movie Podcast. We are kicking off Spooky Sharktober with Mummy Shark from 2024, directed by Mark Polonia. And as always, I'm your host, Captain Steve. And as I said, we are kicking off Spooky Sharktober this year. I didn't get a chance to do it last year, so I'm very excited to get started on it this year. And we're kicking it off with basically a classic, like, Universal monster style shark movie, more or less. But yeah, so this is Mummy Shark from 2024. It's from the Polonia brothers. Before we get into anything else, I just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody out there who's been listening. Whether you support the Patreon, whether you just like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, whether you give me a review or rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, whatever it is you do to support the show, thank you so much. I know I've been on a couple of hiatuses the last couple of months. Wasn't really planned out, but things just keep coming up that I have to deal with. So I'm very excited to get back into Spooky Sharktober this year, and very excited to talk about this movie. Without further ado, thank you guys so much, but let's get into the letterbox plot synopsis. Deep within the hidden chambers of an ancient Egyptian pyramid, a shocking discovery is made: the mummified remains of an alien shark. Guarding this creature is a vengeful mystic who brings the beast back to life, unleashing it upon a group of unsuspecting researchers. And it has an average rating of 2.6 stars on Letterboxd, which seems a little bit high for a Polonia Brothers movie, so I was pretty excited to see that. As far as poster expectations, listen, it's a Polonia Brothers movie. We know that whatever is happening on the poster is probably not what's going to happen in the movie, or it doesn't really set any sort of expectations whatsoever. It's a very basic poster. It's just a shark with some mummy bandages on it and some pyramids in the background. There's nothing crazy going on, really, but I mean, it doesn't really give us any sort of indication as what to expect when you're watching the movie. However, that being said, since it is a Polonia's Brother movie, I'm definitely hoping for some of those, like, Polonia Brothers special effects, a practical shark just in, like, medical gauze or something like that, and then plus a whole lot of nonsense. If that's all we get out of this movie, I will be a very happy camper, because, again, that's pretty much all I've come to expect from them, and just a whole lot of, like, what the fuck kind of plot points throughout this whole movie. And before we go any further, as part of Spooky Sharktober, I am covering Revenge of the Creature over on Patreon. So make sure you go and sign up for the Patreon over at patreon.com/bucketofchum. For just $2 or $3 a month, depending on where you live, you get one free episode a month, and I'm working on making some other tiers and some other stuff. But yeah, this year I'm doing Revenge of the Creature from the Black Lagoon, because last year I did Creature from the Black Lagoon, or maybe the year before or something like that. But either way, I want to continue on with that series, so that's what we're going to be doing over on Patreon for Spooky Sharktober. But now there's nothing left to do other than crack open the tomb, ignore all the hieroglyphic warnings, and unleash a guild nightmare upon the world. Welcome to Mummy Shark. Let's dive in. We start with a man who is tied up, and he's being questioned by a white man who I guess is supposed to be playing an Egyptian man. I'm not going to focus too much on that. Let's just try to have some fun with this, so just whatever. And this is like this mystic dude that they were talking about in the plot description, the one who's like guarding this shark or whatever. And I guess they're in some sort of tent. They're obviously in Egypt. And the man opens up a small box, and there's a mummified shark in it. The little tiny mummified shark. And these two go back and forth arguing about some nonsense. The mystic says, like, you Westerners just kind of come in and do whatever you want, but we have gods. So they go back and forth on this. And then the Egyptian man then shoots lightning at the shark. And then the shark attacks the hostage. And then this mystic dude says that, like, he's only good for food for the gods or something. And then we just go right into credits. And I'm fucking in. Like, let's go. Like, this is exactly the type of Polonia shit that I'm here for. Just randomly shooting lightning bolts into this box that has a shark in it for reasons. And I don't even understand this when it comes later on in the movie either. I'm not sure what's happening here, but again, it doesn't matter. I actually probably don't understand what's happening in 3/4 of this movie, and neither will you, even after I've described all of it to you. And then we see a helicopter landing, and it lands at Giza Plateau. And then this Jeep drives across the desert as we hear two people talking about how something has been discovered that's going to change everything we know about the ancient Egyptians. And this is all just voiceover, so like we know the actors aren't in this Jeep. This is just like some stock footage that they've used. But then we see these two in a tomb with another man who has his gun out behind them. And this is just like super close ups. And it's supposed to be what looks like a cave behind them. And then this woman, Rebecca, who's like the researcher, is with this guy named Mountbatten. That's a fucking mouthful to say, but Mountbatten. And Reed is the guy with the gun who's basically like their security detail. We'll learn a little bit more about that in a bit. But she mentioned something about seeing like hieroglyphics on the wall and how like she doesn't understand what any of it means or something. But this whole time that they're walking, it's just these super close-ups of them, so we don't actually see any hieroglyphics on the wall. And I'm pretty sure anytime we do see hieroglyphs in this movie, it's just like CGI or stock footage or something. So again, it's just typical Polonia fashion. Like this is what we're here for. So they finally reach an opening in this cave, and it's just, again, green screened stock footage of a cave opening or something like that. So they go further in, and then there's a couple of people already there as well. There's a man and a woman, so there's like a cook, and then this other woman, I can't remember her name right now. She comes up later on in the movie a little bit more. They get some food from these people, and then we also learn that this dig and operation is funded by the government or national security, at least. Whatever that is supposed to mean. And then, so Rebecca is the scientist lady. The man is Mountbatten, as I mentioned, and he's showing her some rock tablet with some hieroglyphs on it, quote unquote. And then she says, or I guess this other woman says that it says something about shark gods, and the tomb they're in is over 200,000 years old. So that kind of changes like everything that they know, or at least some of the stuff they know about ancient Egyptians or something like that. Then they open a sarcophagus that has a mummy shark in it, who is the shark god Charis, or Charis. I think they call him Charis. And Mountbatten opens this thing with a remote. So at some point, they took the time to add a remote door opener to this sarcophagus. And people wonder why they don't like it when white people come in and like into their country and steal all their shit. It's because they do dumb shit like this. They just ruin everything. Fuck's sakes. But anyways, later on, Rebecca and this other woman are talking, and the other says that like some people are calling this the sharkophagus. Oh, hilarious, but also awesome. And so the question that they're asking with this dig and research is, were humans really genetically engineered by some shark god or something? So basically this is Sharks of the Corn meets Prometheus. That's the basic plot of this movie. So then we see a couple dump that little shark into some water under the pyramids and then sprinkle some magic dust on it or something, and the shark starts glowing and coming to life. And again, this is all just like really some bizarre practical little shark effects. So they do have like a little shark that they use with, just like I said, and like I predicted with my poster expectations, just this medical gauze wrapped around it. Well, I mean, of course that's what they're going to use. What else are they going to use? But I mean, yeah, it's exactly what you would expect. It's just this rubber shark that they have made themselves. And yeah, and then of course when we see it like glowing and underwater and stuff, like sometimes they switch to CGI or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. And so these two then start looking through the dig site, and then the shark, I'm pretty sure, also at one point laughs as it swims along. Like, it makes a laughing noise. So we get like shark roar a little bit later on and throughout the movie, and then it also does this laughing thing every once in a while too, which I gotta say, I think is probably a first for me, like a laughing shark that's not like a shark person sort of thing. It's just a shark. So that's new. That's something I haven't seen before. But then we see these two, or I thought it was the same two dudes. Maybe it's different people. I don't know. It's a Polonia movie. It's very hard to tell what's going on sometimes. But they come across another body of water again, and then the shark attacks one of them. Like, none of this makes any sense, but I don't really know what's going on, but that's what's happening. And then Rebecca is then woken up by the old lady, and she tells her they need to evacuate. She asks Mountbatten why, and their security guard dude, Reed, shows them a video of a man being eaten by a shark, so their presence there isn't a secret anymore. So that's why they're trying to get out, because they're not safe. And like I said, I thought these two dudes dumping the shark and like the ones that got eaten were the Egyptians, but I have no idea. So I guess they were a part of this team or something. Again, don't really know what the hell is going on with this. But anyways, after some arguing, they say they're leaving and the sarcophagus is coming with them. And Rebecca asks how, and then all of a sudden there's just this big explosion, and then a CGI helicopter comes in, lifts the sarcophagus out of the ground, and then suddenly everybody's in the chopper and we're just flying away from this dig site. Okay, that escalated fast, but here we are. And then the pilot then says Egyptian jets have been scrambled and called out, and they start firing missiles at the chopper, but the chopper shoots one of the planes down somehow. And then Rebecca asks if that actually just happened. And then Mountbatten is like, yup, an international incident. There'll be hell to pay. Just classic, terrible, nonsensical writing. Like, God. It's good to be back. I feel like it's been a minute since we've done a Polonia movie. It feels good. But anyways, suddenly they're on the ground, and they're hiding from everyone by pretending they're dead, so I guess they faked their helicopter being shot down or something. I honestly don't know if we saw this or not, or if we're just being told, but that's what they're doing at this point. So they're in a jungle, and by jungle I mean a room with some plants and a green screen behind them with some like camo backdrops. Just amazing. And this is some undisclosed location. And Rebecca is very mad about this, as she states into like this tape recorder that she's recording her notes into. And then the guard Reed comes in, offers her a burger, but she declines. And he says that he doesn't know where they are, but even if he did, he wouldn't be able to tell her. And then Rebecca tries to ask him like who he works for, but he won't really say much, other than it's like some 3-letter agency, but it's not one that she's heard of before. So he's not FBI or CIA, but he's still part of like some black ops fucking nonsense. Who knows? So we see this Egyptian priest dude, the one from the beginning, and he's praying, and he's doing a ritual to Karis and asking to show his enemies so they can vanquish them. And he's looking into a bowl while doing this, and he sees where the Americans are and says like, you can't hide from the eyes of Karis. And then he drinks some wine or blood or something. Again, just nonsense. And then outside, he turns into a crow and flies away. Yeah, that's what's happening right now. This white Egyptian priest dude is now a crow, going to fly to where the Americans are. That's where we're at in this movie so far. So we go back with the Americans, and the three of them sit at a table going over like tissue samples from the mummy shark, and Mountbatten says that it's like thousands of years old. But the state of the shark is as if it's still alive, but in a state of like suspended animation or something like that. And then Rebecca still doesn't seem to fully believe this. And then Mountbatten goes over the whole, oh, how do you think we built the pyramids? Humans couldn't have done it. It must have been shark gods. It's like this movie is pretty much based off of Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. Like, they just watched a couple episodes of that, and we're just like, just replace the aliens with sharks, and like, we got ourselves a movie here. I mean, I think at this point, like, for real scientifically, we've proven that they were able to build the pyramids by using manpower because they fucking had slaves, so they just made them do it. But they had like ropes and pulley systems and things like that, so there was a way for them to do this. Listen, I believe in extraterrestrial life somewhere out on the planet. Are they visiting Earth? That I don't know, but I'm sure somewhere out there are aliens. I highly fucking doubt that they helped us build the goddamn pyramids. Like, why did they start with, like, ancient humans, and then they're like, well, yeah, you guys seem to have a hold of this thing, so we'll come back in, like, 1,000 years and see how you're doing, or some shit like that. Could you imagine if that was the case? Like, aliens showed up, helped build the fucking pyramids, and then they're like, all right, we gotta go jet across the other side of the galaxy for a bit, help out this other planet. We're gonna come back maybe in the year like 2027 or something, and we're just gonna see how you guys are doing. You guys should be fine. We've given you all the right tools to, you know, have a successful society and build some amazing things, so everything should be good. And then they fucking come back and see all the shit that's happening on this planet since they've left and be like, oh my god, we have made a huge mistake. Holy fuck. Yeah, I don't think that that's actually the case, but I mean, there's definitely some people out there that believe in that, and I mean, if I see proof of it, then I'll believe it, but I'm not fully there yet on believing that aliens created the pyramids. Certainly not shark gods. I really don't think that that's a thing, but I could be wrong, though. You know, it's just science. Maybe someday we'll explain all of this nonsense, but for right now, I don't think so. Anyways, the old lady and the director, Mark Polonia, he plays like the chef dude, and he's making food and they're talking nonsense. And then he gives her some, I think he calls them like tannin leaves or something like that. And he says that if she doesn't like it, come back, and he has some chamomile tea for her. So she asks for tea, and then he's like, hey, I got these weird leaves. I don't really know what they are. You take them, but if you don't like them, I have like real tea for you. I was like, so he doesn't even know if this is tea. He's just like, no, I got it from a guy. So, you know, drink it up. Hope you don't die. And so this old woman goes to a tent where Rebecca is working and still talking about how crazy all this is. And then we see like a random CG shot of some lights flying in the sky as they talk about how wild it is that shark gods created us and blah, 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 blah. And then this old woman drinks her tea, and Rebecca comments it has like a strange aroma to it. And I mean, these leaves do play a part later on, but like the strange aroma thing doesn't really, which I thought it would at some point. Well, I don't know why I would think that. Like, that's just insane. As if I thought that they were going to like somehow make all this come together, but that's my fault for being stupid. But anyways, that night, Reed and Mountbatten are around a fire talking. And by around a fire talking, they're around a fire about like halfway up the screen. It's them sitting in the fire, and then like the top half of the screen is just like some other scenery, like CGI'd in. It's just so weird and out of place, as it always is with these movies, of course. But yeah, it's just wild. But anyways, they're talking, and says Mountbatten says that the best case scenario with this discovery is we're not on top of the food chain, but also maybe we're just slaves to shark gods. Sure. Then he's also like, there could be an army of these things waiting to attack. What is this based on? Nothing. Nothing that they have told us so far would lead us to believe any of this, which is why this is exactly like Prometheus. They just make all kinds of logical leaps without any information, but they're like, hey, we need to get some plot across, so characters just know things for no apparent reason. Cool. And Mountbatten then shows Reed a report about UFOs because, you know, we can't have shark gods without UFOs or some way of getting there. But Reed thinks the UFO thing is silly. Really? That's what's silly? Not the shark god that you dragged out of an Egyptian tomb from a helicopter? That's not silly, but interstellar spaceships is what, like, the silly line is for you? Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? That makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, I definitely believe that this shark is a shark god, but UFOs, sir, that is a little bit too far. But they finally turn in for the night, and we just see the crow lurking around, and Rebecca is still up doing research as the old woman sleeps next to her, and then she finally decides to get some sleep. And then we see this crow transform back into the priest, and I don't even know if priest, they say he's a mystic. I'm just going to call him a priest for the purposes of this movie because, well, I have nothing else to go on. So he takes out a couple of guards by choking them, and then he starts talking to the old woman. And apparently, since she's taken these tannin leaves, she's now a minion for Karis and him or something. And then he chants for her to rise, and she wakes up, and then he says, come to me, little sister. And I'm like, gross. Please don't do that. He's like, we have work to do, and bring the tannin leaves, otherwise I can't control you. Sure. So he tells her to come with him, and then they're going to start like a second dynasty for their lord Karis. He then brews some stew or potion or tea, perhaps. I don't know. He adds the leaves to it and chants some nonsense. He gathers the potion in a bottle, and then he just starts like lurking around everywhere. And then he takes a ladder to the sarcophagus and climbs up it and tells Karis his servant is there, and he will vanquish these thieves. Why he needed a ladder to accomplish this, I don't fucking know, but He did. And then the shark comes to life, it laughs, and the priest dude tells him that the old woman is his bride now. That, okay, sure. Why? I don't know. I don't know. Fuck. And then Mountbatten and everyone else start waking up, and they start to see some of this going on. And then Reed shoots at the shark and priest, and I thought he hit the shark because we see some like clip art / bad CGI blood on the screen. But this also happens while the shark is attacking the cook. So I think this was like blood from the cook dying and not the shark getting shot, which the way they edited that together made it look like that. So it was very confusing, but I don't think he hit the shark, or at least he didn't injure the shark as far as I can tell. And this whole time, the old woman is just standing there staring, and the shark even goes into the water, and then no one has noticed where Nina, that's the old woman, that's her name, Nina. Even though they couldn't have been far, like if they saw the priest and everything, they should have been able to see Nina, but they're all like, oh, we don't know where she is. I'm like, well, she was just standing there. How did you not see her? But I guess not. And so her and the priest walk off, and the priest says that they'll wait until their master calls. So they're waiting out in some cave or something. So we see our last three amigos planting some crosses down. So again, the cook is dead. And yeah, I guess Reed didn't hit the shark or whatever. So they start packing their shit up, but they're out of like food and water now, somehow. So they have to find some fresh water on the island or wherever the hell they are. And then again, Nina and the priest are in a cave, and they're sitting by the water, drinking some of that bullshit potion, I guess. And then the shark laughs again, and the priest says, Master, this is our home now. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what any of this fucking means. And then we just see some, like, electrical shit happening around the lady and shark, and the priest then proclaims, like, yes, Karis, this is your bride. So weird. It's like they mix Bride of Frankenstein and The Mummy together or something. Like, I don't know. This is all very strange. Every time I watch a Polonia movie, I feel like I'm having a fucking stroke. Like, I'm saying all this out loud, and I'm like, yeah, that's what happened in the movie. It doesn't make any sense, but I feel like people listening are going to be like, man, I think Steve's stroking out because none of this makes any goddamn sense. It just sounds like a string of random sentences strung together to describe a plot. But what can I say? That's a Polonia movie. That's just how it goes. So Mountbatten and Rebecca talk some more nonsense about everything that's going on, and then Reed is looking for some fresh water, and I guess he finds some, so he fills his canteen. We go back to Nina being electrified still, and the priest looks into the water and can see Reed and says he can't escape Karis for long. And then we get a random CGI shot of a shark jumping out of the water. So, whatever. As Mountbatten then talks about ceremony or ritual where someone turned into a snake. This is something that he witnessed at some point, and then it devoured one of his team members. So at this point, I guess the point is he believes in all of this because he's seen some shit. I don't know. I'm so confused as to what's going on all of the time in this movie. And then we just see a random CGI shark swimming around in a shot that they've used like 1,000 times in their movies before. And then it's attacked by Karis. So Karis is just also eating other sharks for reasons. Yeah. And the priest is watching this through like some water portal. Like he's looking into the water and he can see all this going on. And then he says soon he'll be eating the thieves, his thieves or his enemies or something like that. And then Mountbatten and Rebecca then theorize that maybe the shark god didn't arrive by ship, but maybe a portal. So maybe Reed was right to not believe in UFOs because maybe they came in by a portal instead. Again, this is Ancient Aliens, the movie. That's what this whole thing is. Reed finally returns. He comes back with water for everyone, and so they drink up. And then we see this CGI battleship launching some planes, and they're searching for the crew, and then they get attacked by Karis. It's so brief, we don't really see anything, but yeah, apparently the mummy shark took out some fighter jets, because it can do that as well. I don't think there's anything this shark can't do. It can do whatever and anything it wants. It's pretty impressive. And so the crew is then wandering the jungle. Rebecca is picking plants, I guess, looking for food or something. And then the priest comes and tries to attack her. And she tries to sound badass, saying, like, I used to play softball. And she tries to hit him with a stick. And he just, like, very easily overpowers her. Like, this was not a problem whatsoever. But she does somehow end up turning the machete onto the priest and stabbing him. It would have been cooler if she had actually just hit him with a stick, if they had just gone with that, but no, she just stabs him with his machete. Okay. And then Karis, or some CGI shark, also seems to be lurking around in the jungle. Again, I feel like there's two different sharks, but they haven't done anything to differentiate between the two, because I feel like there's supposed to be one in the sarcophagus, but there's also the one that this mystic or priest dude put into the water at some point. I'm so lost. Like, I don't know. I'm assuming there's supposed to be two sharks, I guess, but I don't really know. And they don't really tell us that or do a very good job at showing that to us. I have no fucking idea, man. If anybody else watches this movie, just let me know if you can figure out what's happening. You could do that for any movie I talk about, actually, because 3/4 of the time, I don't know what the hell is going on. So, I mean, if you have any insights, please, I'm more than happy to listen to them. But anyways, Reed finds one of the downed planes, and then Karis shows up, and so he starts shooting at it, and then he runs as Karis chases him through the jungle, and this is just like the rubber mummy shark that they've been using. It's fucking great. And then Rebecca leaves the priest, but then some lightning starts lifting him into the air, and he floats over the island. And he then hovers near Karis, saying he has failed him, and tells him where his bride is. And then Karis leaves Reed alone, and the priest just kind of fades away. Oh my god, just insane. I watched this sober, and I really wish I had watched this stoned. Maybe I'll do that immediately after this. But anyways, the three amigos then find each other, and Reed tells them what happened and what he saw, and Rebecca seems surprised that the shark can travel on land. I'm like, how did you think the shark gods helped build the pyramids? Like, what did you think they were doing? Like, again, people say things or, like, have trouble believing things, and I'm just like, how, like, why? It's like in the X-Files when Scully didn't believe in aliens for like fucking 8 seasons. And it's like, bitch, like, you've seen shit. How do you not believe this at this point? Good God. Ugh. Anyways, back to the show. Reed then tells them about Karis going to look for its bride. And Rebecca is like, oh my God, Nina. But how can a human be a bride to a monster? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's what Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein's all about. So we can go into it on those movies. I'm not going into it fucking here. God damn it. We go back to the warships now, too. And we overhear that they've lost the choppers to some unknown enemy. Even though it was planes we saw shot down, they say choppers. Again, very fucking confused. Like, we only saw planes, but it's fine. It's fine. They've sent up 2 more jets. And then our 3 amigos then decide to head to higher ground. But then Rebecca sees a cave, comments on it, and then they just go for it without any discussion. They're like, a cave! I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's happening. Again, feels like I'm stroking out. So they start calling for Nina, and they start looking around. They find Nina and this fucking Raiden priest, because he's got lightning around him and shit, and he tells them that they can't take the bride of Karis, and then Karis appears from the water. Mountbatten tries to grab Nina, but Karis eats him, and then he sets his eyes on Reed and Rebecca, and then the jet above spots Karis, and they asks, like, what it is, but one of them says, like, doesn't matter, just kill it. And then Reed and Rebecca try to wave the planes down as they fire on Karis. They hit Karis, but he's still alive. The jets spot the survivors, and then they start shooting the shark again. They hit it, and the shark glows with electricity and then just disappears into some fire, and the priest also disappears as well. And then Nina wakes up, asks where she is, and Reed and Rebecca take her out of the cave. Just pure insanity. A helicopter lands and takes them away, And then we see some CGI fetus of what I assume is a shark, I guess. And then we see Karis again briefly, and the pyramids, and a lot of stock footage that we just saw, like, kind of at the beginning of the movie. And we then go to an undisclosed military hospital. Rebecca tells some man that they think they killed it, but they didn't. It went through a portal. So I guess when Karis just kind of fades away, he went to a portal. Sure. Because it's not flesh and blood. It's from another world, and tries to tell him about the stuff in Egypt, but he has no knowledge of it, or at least he's denying any knowledge of it. But I'm like, how is it not flesh and blood if you took tissue samples from it? And also, your argument is that it just went through a portal to another world, not like... why am I trying to put logic into this? Why am I doing that? That's stupid. Yeah, this dude also asks, like, if she's ever been diagnosed with a mental illness, and she says no, but it doesn't matter because he's just going to bury this. And he says, well, that sounds a little paranoid. And it's, like, literally what he's about to do. I feel like this is just any conversation with any government, really, but also, like, dude, explain how your jets shot and took out a shark that was on land and had to be shot down by fucking jets. Like, why are you having a hard time believing in this? God. Anyways, the man then questions Reed and offers him a cigarette, and Reed says he won't like it, but everything that he said is true, and that's what happened. And again, they'll probably just doctor the files anyway, so what difference does it make? He then asks them, Reed asks these people to leave Rebecca's career alone, and he asks how Nina is. The man just says that she's alive, but can't offer any more specifics. So we go to Nina, and she's waking up in a hospital bed, and this nurse tells her that she's under quarantine. And then the nurse also says, like, oh, you better eat up because you're eating for 2 now. So Nina is pregnant, and the nurse is like, yeah, you're like 6 months pregnant. This woman is like 60, and this nurse doesn't find this odd. I find it very odd. And so Nina is wheeled into another room. She's sedated. And then we see an x-ray of the fetus, which looks like it's sitting in her chest like a fucking xenomorph. So I don't think this nurse knows or understands how pregnancy works, because it's not like that. I can tell you that much. And so the doctor performs surgery on Nina, and we get some, like, surgical stock footage, which was kind of gross. And then we just fade to black. And then we fade into some jaws or human fetuses and someone rubbing a jar, then shots of hieroglyphs and a shark and some other shit, and then we just end. We roll credits, which are basically just the same as the opening credits. Oh, God, it's good to be back. I mean, listen, what can I say? We get a silly little mummy shark, a bonkers story, some terrible sets and CGI work. It's everything we hope for and more in a movie like this. I think I like this more than Sharkula, but it's no Sharkenstein. As far as Polonia movies go, Sharkenstein is definitely, like, top tier. This is probably, like, right underneath it, which would be close to, like, Noah's Shark and stuff like that. But yeah, it's so bizarre. It's weird. It's everything we expect from a Polonia Brothers movie. I could definitely see myself throwing this on next Halloween season as well. So I'm going to give it a 2.5. It's not like, you know, the greatest fucking movie ever made, clearly. But it's definitely a good time. I recommend checking it out. It's a lot of just dumb fun if you like the Polonia Brothers style. Like I said, it's definitely better than Sharkula. It's actually shot a lot better, in a manner of speaking. So, I mean, there's that at least. But yeah, that's it for Mummy Shark. So that's all I have for you this week, guys. Thank you so much for listening. You know that you can check me out on all the social medias. That's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Slasher, Blue Sky, all at Bucket of Chum or at Bucket of Chum Podcast. And don't forget, go to patreon.com/Bucket of Chum to check out all of the amazing episodes we have over there. Like I said, sign up. You get a new episode every month. If you can't do that, I would appreciate liking and subscribing to the YouTube channel or leaving a rating or review wherever you listen to your podcast. But I'll see you guys next time for even more Bucket of Chum.